guess what? I'm back. And no, it's not another series. It's a remaster of one. Yeah, so I'm gonna remaster What If Civilization Reset. Or What If Civilization Start Over. Whatever, I forgot what it was called. Wicker. What If Civilization Reset. Yeah, Wicker. Remaster. Guess where we're starting? Arabia, of course. Or am I? So, actually, we're gonna start in Africa. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna do what ID's Pros does. After this episode, if you watch this, give me ideas. What should happen next after this? Because this is just my part. The rest of the series is your part. So you have to make that happen. If it doesn't happen, then guess what? Then episode 2 is going to be my thing. And I don't know if you guys are going to like that or not. I don't know. Comment down below. Would you rather either me control it or you control it? Or like me control it, but like I just get the ideas. What I mean by that is like, let's say someone has an idea, but I already have like something in place for the series, so I just take that idea and like smoosh it in. Or you could control it completely. Doesn't matter. But let's get started. We're gonna start somewhere near this lake. A small, well, I guess not really small, but a tribe, I guess you could say, or civilization, does eventually form. Oh shoot, I'm on the thumbnail map. Oops. So a small tribe does form. They eventually expand around another lake. They want to completely surround their water. So that's exactly what they do. And they're like very circular. A group over here expands outwards. Now I'm pretty sure this area is like jungle. I know up here's like the Sahara, but like right here's like jungle. Sorry, I'm sick. They eventually get down to this little sliver of water and go towards the coast. And they do a little more expanding. This is kind of what they finally look like. Very kind of big. Eventually, though, after like, let's say 2 years of like doing some eternal stuff, they go down this river, and then they kind of still go down, because they think there might be more river, but they miss it, because it's right there, it's right here. So they stop, and they fill in the blanks. Now, if I were actually... Yeah, now you guys can make the names and stuff. That's fine. But for now, I'm gonna call this the luscious... The luscious Central African river culture. So yeah. Also, after this video, I'm going to be working on another video where I'm basically making Wisco flags. So starting from episode 1 probably to episode 3 for now. And I'll start really working on the series, and then I'll do episode 4 to 6 And I'll start really ones, so on and so forth. So yeah, and I'm gonna be using CapCut now. So, anyways, I don't know if I'm gonna cut a lot of this out anyway. So, anyways, they're going to, I guess, circle around the lake a little more, and they finally realize, wait, this is pretty much all of the lake. And they do go down a little more. They actually almost reach the coast down here, but they stop. Actually, pretty big. They like the water and stuff. Eventually, the people over here do make it to the coast. Finally. And I guess they're really set up here. So, I'm trying to think. The areas that are probably really populated are like right here. That's really populated. Down here is really populated. And then like over here is really populated. So they expand their coastal area a whole lot more. And they're like, let's stop because we want to go this way. But they also do go a little bit this way. So they get some people, some expeditions through up here. And they stop because, like I said, all of this is probably like jungle. It's probably really hard to traverse. Ugh. So. They are gonna get, they will get pretty big, I promise. They eventually, I keep saying eventually, I'm gonna stop doing that. I will say a few months after their expeditions up here, they start, hugging the coast, basically. And this tale, they actually try to guess where the coast is, but they miss it. And they find the lake. And they're happy. So, these guys continue to hug the coast for a little bit, but then they stop. And they expand themselves. They send out more expeditions towards the lake. Or, I guess, real river, not really lake. And they hug it completely. And they're going to continue to guess where the coast is. But they know, like, that this exists. Eventually, get all this. Actually really big. They continue to go down the coast a little more, but then they stop. Why? Because we're gonna have a rebellion. It's actually gonna be of the same red. It's gonna be darker. So these guys' goals is they want to really more focus on themselves and like stay in one place, kind of thing. So there's a big group of them up here, and another big group of them surrounding where the old country basically used to be. And I guess a lot over here too. So they fight, and the red team can't really do much about it. because they're like, oh, down here right now, it'll take a while for them to get back up, so they're just like, yeah, we'll let you have it. So I guess you could say it's not really a treaty, more of an agreement. Oh my gosh. My congestion, dude. Oh. So they make an agreement. And this is their agreement. Actually, I'm gonna erase that. So yeah, but get over here. I take a bunch of this stuff. And now we have 2 countries on the map. Yay! But, you know what happens with big countries, right? Well, it's a good thing you do, because this ends up happening. Yeah, so a lot of the guys down here saw this, and they were kind of like, I guess, inspired by it. And they realized if they keep letting stuff like this slide, we're not going to be a country anymore. So, that's why they start cracking down on the rebellions. But they let these guys slide. These guys, actually, oh my gosh. Why cooking the coast? So they continue to hug the coast. And get a pretty good tail going. Kind of look like Vietnam a little bit. Yeah, so now we have 3 countries on this world map. So the red country eventually starts focusing on themselves and all that good stuff. But a lot of the group, so these 2 actually have a lot of people that actually kind of move there because they actually kind of like their place better, they realized. They actually all kind of moved in right here. So all 3 of the main groups actually come together, and what they do is they travel up the Horn, go up to here, but they don't just stop there. They travel the ocean to right here. And that's where we get our yellow country. We get our first Arabian country. These guys are actually to themselves, they're not very expansive, but they actually do expand into Africa a little bit to get a colony. Just know that a lot of them are right here, not right here. They do expand their mainland, and they get satisfied with what they have. I'm going to check the time of the recording, because I like doing that. 14 minutes. We can still keep going, I think. So, the red team will actually expand more towards the Horn and create a northern tail, I guess. Yeah. This blue country will continue to hug the coast towards South Africa, where they will grow their tail. Now, this is a pretty big gap, but the red team and the blue team are actually able to make it to Madagascar. The blue team establishes a very small colony because a lot of them died. But the red team has been focusing on themselves a lot more. So they get up to the northern, I guess, like knife tip. And actually a lot more of them survive. So there's a lot more people here. Oh my gosh, my nose, I'm sorry. Oh, they actually do eventually send out a few more expeditions, and they do make their colony a lot bigger. But they actually eventually stop in Madagascar, and so does the red team, because Madagascar is a lot of nothing, except for, I guess, just jungle. And I guess animals, this is a pretty good animal. The yellow will actually decide to expand their colony. But then their colony's like, you know what, we want to do our own thing. So they actually let them. And so they become the first greenish blue. They actually settle more towards the horn and not like all of that. They actually left all that behind because there's a whole lot of nothing. But they settle around the horn and even colonize a few islands. So this is what the world's map's looking like. You got just a handful of small little countries that are focusing on themselves. What's been going on with the Dark Red Team? Well, they actually have a vendetta against the original Red. Why? Is because, you see, the leader of the Dark Red Country, his son was killed by a very, I guess you could say, mad with power military officer from the Red Team, and he wants his revenge. So they've been preparing for years, more like 3 years, but for the last 4 years they've been preparing, and they're finally ready to take it back. So they start attacking the Red Team. They eventually get in towards more of the main area, and the Red Team is completely unprepared. And the Blue Team sees this and was like, wait, we can get more land too. So they expand and grab the river. I almost said liver. And hug the coast a little more because I like doing that for some reason. And get more towards here. And the Red Team can't do anything about this. Because most of our guys are actually here in Madagascar and up here. But they do eventually, get there. And they actually counterattack the Dark Red. And the Blue. Actually, counterattack them pretty good. Doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Because the Blue Team shatters. And I mean shatters their counterattack pretty much immediately. They also expand more in Madagascar, knowing that the Red Team can't do anything about it. And this little portion actually will become its own country. Because they're like, we're not a part of this, but we want to be our own kind of thing. So they leave the Red Team. I accidentally deleted a lot of the blue team there. Oops. They get more into Madagascar. Next stop because they want to focus on the war effort. And they start focusing on the war effort and slam a lot of, I guess, cities. Same with the Dark Red. They demolish their counterattack. Not immediately because they were preparing for something else. And the Red team didn't have a lot of manpower right there. But the Dark Red team eventually stops around this river. And they have secured their revenge. So now the original Red, which is what I'm calling them, is decimated. Like, they cannot really do anything. And they eventually actually give up a lot of their land to Dark Red and the blue team. Not team, country. Oh, stupid weather notification. These guys eventually do take the rest of what remains of Madagascar, but the blue team takes these very tiny little islands. Can't go too far out, not as far as there, because, not that advanced yet. But yeah, the red team secured their vengeance. I'm calling them Vengeance Red. Coastal Blue, and then Arabian Yellow. And then the Minty Horn. So the red team is very decimated. And they start expanding more towards the horn. And this is what's left of the red team. Or the original Red. The Horn of Africa country gets what they want, and they actually make a deal with Red. They're like, hey, you can have this, we get this. Alright, cool. So that's what happens. The Red team, original Red, expands more up to here, and they actually discover the yellow team. And they're like, hey, you're pretty cool. Could you help us out? They're like, yeah, sure, why not? And they give them a bunch of money and a bunch of resources. So, yeah. The Arabian Yellow will expand out more towards, I guess, where Yemen and Oman would be. And then, or where of Saudi Arabia is. The original Red actually starts surrounding the Red. I mean, the Red knows they can't do anything, so they let it slide. So here, we actually have some pretty cool border action going on right here. I actually really like these borders. They're not too gory. They're actually pretty neat. I mean, except for this, I guess, but yeah. Well, that'll be it for episode 1. After I edit this, I'm pretty much going to go immediately work on Wisco flags and stuff. So, yeah. And you know what? Ivan, we're not going to end it here. We're going to have a little bit of last minute interest. We're going to make some provinces. Starting with Vigit's Red, we have the capital province, which is actually very big. Yeah. We have this very not so neat river, actually, yeah, neat river province. And we have this very, very large occupied red area that turned into a very big province. And they have the original main area. That's Vigit's Red. Now it's time for original Red. So their capital, area, I guess, would technically be this. Their horn be over here. And their new stuff over here. These guys are really just two provinces. And the Arabian guys, they have their very large original area. They have their northern area, and then their eastern, their southeastern area. All right, that's all for the northern guys. Now we're gonna go south. So for the blue, we have they're also very large occupied red area. We have their, I guess, kind of capital region. Then you have their southern tail. You have this group of islands. Their first original area in Madagascar. Then the rest of Madagascar. And then these islands are separate provinces. And this guy's just basically one whole big thing. So, here's the countries, here's their provinces, and here's what the map looks like with onion skins, with the countries, with the provinces. Well, that's going to be all for What If Civilization Reset, Remaster, Episode 1. I think this went pretty good. So, not so much for the red team, or the original red. So yeah, that's going to be all. I'll see you guys in Episode 2. Oh! Alright. Anyways, bye.